This is segment 1 of the Cool Persons podcast.
Yeah.
Alright, my name is Zain.
My name is Allie.
And my name's Emily.
And the books we chose are The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Silence and Speak.
Alright, so the main plot of The Hitchhiker's Guide is this main character named Arthur Dent. He lives a very modest, average life, and then just randomly one day, some intergalactic fellows decide to destroy the planet in order to make a cool highway, a space highway. But his friend shows up, and he takes him off the Earth right before it's destroyed, and basically the rest of the book just goes on to describe the random adventures, I suppose, that they go on in outer space as they're hitchhiking across the galaxy. So
My book Speak was about a girl going to a party in the summer, and then she got raped, and then she called the cops, and everyone didn't like her because she called the cops on the party. And then the next day at school, none of her friends liked her or anything, and then she tried to tell her best friend what happened at the party, but she didn't believe her because she liked that guy that did it. And she told her parents, and her parents didn't believe her, and she just started to shut down, not talk to anyone, just shut everyone out. And then eventually it happened again with the same guy, but at their school in a janitor's closet, but they get caught by her best friend and a teacher. And yeah.
Okay, my book is about this girl. She doesn't think anyone likes her, so she doesn't talk, and she's just kind of lonely, and her parents aren't a huge role in her life, so she doesn't really have a figure of anything like that, except her grandparents take care of her, and the only person I guess that really cares about is her grandma. And she's not a shy person. She doesn't speak to anyone because she feels like she's unwanted at her school or anywhere she goes, but she has a best friend. His name's John. Her best friend's John, and she talks to him most of the time, but then she started to kind of stop talking to him, and that's when he kind of knew something was up. And then she had this escape plan to go missing, not go missing, but to run away. She had this thing to run away, and she wouldn't really speak to anyone or her best friend when she was planning this, so her best friend kind of knew something was up. And then she runs away, and they go looking for her.
Right. So the main plot of the book is that she runs away.
Yeah, and they're just looking for her the whole time.
Alright, this is segment 2 of the podcast that we are doing. This is in fact a podcast. Alright, so why each of us liked our books. I personally liked my books, the Hitchhiker's Guide, because it was a really sci-fi based book, and it had a bunch of branching plot points and complex main concepts and ideas, and I just really liked reading it because of how much it had. It was so jam-packed with interesting stuff. I found it really interesting because it was the main character, Arthur Dent, is this really simple man, but then after the whole event of his planet being obliterated, he gets thrusted into this really complicated situation that he doesn't understand very well. And so we just basically get to read about this complex world and stuff all through the perspective mind of a very simple individual, and that makes it a really interesting book to read. So yeah, that's why I liked it, because it was complicated.
I liked my book because it was very real, and it was a long comic book. And I like comic books.
There was pictures in there.
And it was very interesting about they wrote what she was thinking, not what she was saying. She didn't say anything. She thought everything.
Yeah, that's why it's called silent. It's a fun word.
It was interesting because what happened to Gabriella? She tried to tell her friends what happened, but none of her friends believed her because they they were friends with that dude and wouldn't believe that the guy would have done that, but he did.
What a pervert.
Yeah. And then later out, she goes into the bathroom and finds out like there's a bunch of things written about him doing stuff like that all over the bathroom walls to like other people, and
What a sick.
it was just interesting.
It's a sick book.
Yeah.
I hope it's not based on a true story.
It is.
What?
Okay, so I liked my book because it's a real book in that it could happen in real life. It's realistic fiction because it could happen in real life, but it didn't because it's not based off a real story. And I relate to my book because she has like a few close friends, but like mainly just one close friend in the book, and that's kind of like me. Like I have a few close friends, and then she's also really close with her grandparents, but mainly her grandma, and I'm really close with my grandparents, but mainly my grandma too. So it's very interesting because it's always suspenseful. Like there's nothing really boring. Like there's not a boring part in my book. She's always doing something. She's always thinking about something, like running away or planning how to, and then she does it. So it's very suspenseful throughout the whole entire book, and it never has like a down point where it's just kind of boring and stuff. So that's the main reason why I like my book, so I don't get bored reading it.
Alright, this is segment 3 of the podcast discussing the books. Alright. So, some main concepts that are visible throughout all 3 of our books is the general like idea of running away from an issue or problem. For example, in my book, the main character is running away from the destruction of his planet. Right? And then he just he doesn't really deal with the situation. He has a short like brief moment of grief, I suppose, but he doesn't really dwell on the issue. He kind of just ran away from it and didn't really deal with it afterwards.
My book was about, like, the concept was she ran away from everyone in her mind, not like physically, but mentally, because no one believed what happened to her, and she didn't have anyone to talk to. Not even her parents believed her. So,
Oh.
My book is Silence. My girl runs away. She runs away because she is getting bullied. So she runs away.
It's the obvious solution, of course. Is there any like specific emotions that the characters in your books feel?
It feels like sad, unwanted.
yeah, so does mine. It's like, same thing, kinda.
Yeah. Mine doesn't always feel very sad. There was a brief period of sadness, but for the most part, it's just very unintellectual about everything.
She'd be happy around certain people, but it was like one person.
Yeah.
Yeah, my girl would just, like my book, the girl in my book, she was just sad all the time. She wouldn't talk to anyone.
Alright. This is the final segment of the Cool Persons podcast, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Clear my throat. Alright, so we kind of wanted to discuss how our characters could have improved during or after the contents of the book, and what they could have been better at. For my book, one of the biggest flaws with my character was that he was just very casual about the whole situation. He didn't take much seriously, and on top of that, he didn't take much action. He kind of just did whatever was happening around him. A lot of the characters around him had to actually engage with him in order to get him to interact and do things. But if nobody was around him, he probably would have just been a rock for the whole book. So for my character to improve, I feel like he needs to start engaging more with the environment in order to just be more interesting, because for the most part he either didn't talk, or when he was talking about tea from Britain and how much he missed it because the earth is gone, and that was pretty irritating. So I miss my bloody tea.
My character, she never talked to anyone or never opened up. So for my character to improve, I would want her to talk about what happened more and like get people to believe her instead of telling them once and like them saying, "Oh no, I don't believe you," and then she just gave up after that. Like she just gave up after everything. So I'd want her to like not give up so easily and talk.
Okay, one of the things I would want for my character to prove on, or like what I would want to kind of see if there was like a second book to my book. Like the person, like the main character in my book was she wasn't really shy. She just didn't want to speak to anyone because she didn't think anyone liked her. But like people would speak to her and she would kind of just like give that awkward grin or like ignore them. So like if I could change anything, I would probably change that about it, because that probably could have solved a lot of things and like probably helped her not want to run away.
Wait, so she just made a bunch of weird grins?
Like when
Going around class like,
no, like when someone says something to her, she like just smile back like, yeah, and just like agree with whatever anyone would say.